Have you ever found yourself wondering if you're surrounded by people who just don't seem to get it? Maybe you've noticed behaviors in certain women that leave you shaking your head, questioning their mindset, their decisions, or their way of looking at life. But here's the thing, understanding these signs isn't just about pointing fingers, it's about protecting your own peace, avoiding unnecessary NEAR drama, and making better choices when it comes to relationships. Trust me, by the end of this video, you will have a clearer perspective that could change the way you approach your love life forever. Welcome to Stoic Monarch, where we explore how Stoic philosophy can empower us to make wiser decisions and lead a life of purpose. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into understanding certain behaviors that can be harmful to your peace of mind and your relationships. These 6 signs might reveal some not so wise patterns in relationships that can affect your mental clarity. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let's aim for 1,000 likes on this video. Let's get started. Just pretend you've met someone in a completely unfamiliar social setting. Being in her company makes everything seem perfect. She's beautiful and fun. However, little things start to pile up, and you start to question her apparent intelligence. Now, when I say intelligence, I'm not talking about academic smarts. I mean the highly esteemed Stoic qualities of knowledge, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence. According to Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. This suggests that our present decisions, especially regarding the people we associate with, might dictate our future one. She thrives on drama. Have you ever had a relationship that sent you on a wild roller coaster of emotions? One minute everything is all right, and the next minute you're in the middle of a fight over something as insignificant as a late text message. As a result, you start to wonder what makes it so hard every time. If you hear someone enjoying causing trouble, you should be on the lookout. Some women, and let's be honest, some men, have it worse than it needs to be. They crave disorder and find ways to create it even when there isn't any. It's like they can't go about their daily lives without feeling some kind of emotional pain. But here's the point, a relationship isn't supposed to be a soap opera. An intelligent woman, on the other hand, seeks peace, not turmoil. She knows that the weight of power is not to become furious about trivial things, but to be tranquil. Think back to your own romantic experiences. Ever dated someone who couldn't stop finding fault? Maybe she'd get angry if you didn't respond to her text message within 5 minutes, or she'd accuse you of not caring enough and start fights. If you went out with friends, it hurts a little at first, but it gets emotionally draining after a while. Why does this happen? Because drama is a form of attention seeking for some women. If no one is talking, something is wrong with their minds. They are used to chaos, and now they find peace unsettling. Before you know it, you're ensnared in a never-ending cycle of broken hearts and broken promises, deceiving yourself into believing that's love. On the other hand, if you find yourself being consumed by her emotional tempest, it's wise to pause and ask yourself, is this really the life I want? As Marcus Aurelius, a wise Stoic, said, the mind, not external circumstances, is within your control. You'll find the power you need once you recognize this. A wise woman understands that love should be a haven, not a battlefield. 2, she can't take responsibility. Let me paint a picture for you. You're in a relationship where everything is going great until it doesn't. Maybe it's a small argument or something more serious, like a breakdown in communication, but instead of talking it out rationally, she jumps to conclusions and says, it's not my fault, you should have been more wise. Ever heard that line before? If you have, you know how frustrating it is to work with someone who will always avoid doing their job. It's always someone else's fault, whether it's their parents, their ex-employer, or even you. But the reality is that if the other person can't take responsibility for their actions, you and your relationship will never get anywhere. We're all imperfect. Everyone makes mistakes. The ability to recognize mistakes, assess the situation, and proceed is what distinguishes the intelligent from the foolish. According to Stoicism, understanding oneself is the source of true power. As Epicurus said, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. The secret to a fulfilled life is not avoiding errors, but finding ways to deal with them. This naive woman, though, with her victim mindset, refuses to leave her side. No matter how bad things get, someone else is always To blame staying around this type of person will lead to you being held responsible for things that were never your fault. Have you ever been in a relationship where someone had trouble saying I was wrong? How did that make you feel like you weren't valued? That's because having an accountability partner is fundamental to every healthy relationship. Responsibility is a strength, not a weakness. A strong woman owns up to her mistakes, says she's sorry, and works to improve for the future. 3. She values materialism over character. Ever been in a relationship where your partner seemed more interested in what you can provide than in getting to know you as a person? Maybe it seemed nice at first to spoil her, get her gifts, and take her on romantic outings, but then after the expensive pre-sentence lavish meals and excursions, you start to realize there wasn't much left. If you've ever been in a relationship where one partner valued material goods more than honesty and character, you know this is a tough road. At first you might believe these are just high expectations, telling yourself she just has good taste or she deserves nice things, but deep down you know you're still not good enough. No matter how much you provide, she'll always find something bigger, better, or more expensive to request, and the worst part is she's never satisfied. When was the last time you were in a relationship where your worth was judged only by your bank account? A wise woman knows that love is more important than material goods. She values loyalty, emotional connection, and character more than possessions or fancy trips. The Stoics believe that happiness is an inward condition, not something that can be bought. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If you're with a woman who values integrity more than wealth, your efforts will be much appreciated, for she constantly seeks validation. Now this one's a big one. Did the person you were with constantly seek confirmation when you were around? Maybe you told her her clothing was beautiful and now she wants another compliment. On the other hand, she's always posting to her social media sites, hoping to receive validation through comments and likes. It might be charming and appealing at first, but deep down you know it's exhausting. It feels like there's never enough love and attention for her. A woman with low self-esteem will never stop seeking affirmation. She's looking for fulfillment elsewhere. To meet her own wants, words of encouragement, monetary gifts, or praise will never be enough for her. Have you ever been in a relationship where you were prompted to show your commitment time and time again? Is this something you've encountered? She might have said you didn't message her enough, didn't post enough compliments about her online, or didn't do enough to make her feel special. But the truth is, true love doesn't require approval all the time. A confident woman doesn't need constant validation. She knows her worth and the love you give her, even if you don't tell her all the time. 5. She can't handle criticism. Do you ever feel like your words are carefully chosen, but they still land with the wrong impact? It's like you're walking on eggshells, trying to avoid triggering an unnecessary emotional reaction. You might offer a simple suggestion like, hey, maybe we should try eating healthier, but instead of a thoughtful conversation, you're met with defensiveness, anger, or even resentment. Suddenly something harmless turns into a huge confrontation, leaving you wondering where things went wrong. For some women, criticism, no matter how constructive or positive, feels like an attack. Even when your intent is simply to offer a helpful suggestion, it can trigger a reaction of hostility. Instead of processing the information, reflecting on it, and using it as an opportunity to grow, the response is immediate and emotional. The words may not even be heard properly, and instead they are filtered through a lens of defensiveness, as if the criticism were a personal insult. This behavior often stems from a fear of failure, inadequacy, or a lack of emotional resilience. When someone cannot tolerate criticism, they become emotionally reactive, unable to separate their identity from the feedback they are receiving. What might seem like an opportunity for growth becomes a trigger for defensiveness. This creates an environment where honesty is stifled because one partner feels attacked or invalidated at every turn. 6. She's too emotionally reactive. Have you ever felt like you were walking on eggshells in a relationship, always afraid that one wrong word will set the other person off. You might say something as simple as, "I had a long day at work," and suddenly it's an all-out argument. The simple act of sharing your thoughts or feelings becomes a minefield. This is the reality of being with someone who is emotionally reactive, where even the smallest comment can trigger an intense emotional response. Being emotionally reactive means that she lacks control over her emotions. Instead of pausing to reflect, she reacts impulsively. Her feelings take over, causing her to act in ways that are unpredictable and unstable. One minute she may be warm and affectionate, but the next she could be angry or upset over something minor. This constant emotional fluctuation can be draining, leaving you unsure when the next emotional storm will come. Living with someone who reacts emotionally to everything can create a tense environment. You might feel like you're constantly adjusting yourself to avoid causing an emotional outburst. It becomes difficult to have honest conversations because every attempt to express yourself could be met with defensiveness or anger. This emotional instability can prevent meaningful connections from forming. As the foundation of a healthy relationship requires open, calm communication. A relationship should be a space where both partners feel secure enough to be vulnerable. But when emotional reactions overshadow logic, it's hard to build that kind of trust. The relationship becomes unpredictable, leaving you unsure of where you stand. Emotional stability and self-regulation are key to maintaining a strong, lasting connection. Without them, it's nearly impossible to grow together as partners. To wrap up, it's important to remember that recognizing negative behaviors in others is not about judgment, but about protecting your own peace and making better choices for your future. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Stay focused, stay wise, and make decisions that align with your Stoic values. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more life-changing insights. Keep striving for growth, Stoic monarchs.